Natural. What is good, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have,
Jahkir Bailey.
and just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, what you do, um, what niche you're in, how old you are, and how much you make on average.
I'm 24 years old. A little bit about me. I'm really big into the stock market. I trade mainly equities, options sometimes, and low cap stocks. I'm also really big into real estate. I own two properties myself, both for new construction. One I'm running out currently in California. The second one I'm currently residing here in Florida, and I'm actually in the market for a third one, either between a fix or flip or another rental property. I'm also prior enlisted, now commissioned officer in the Air Force. So I just recently commissioned back in the Air Force as second lieutenant. Prior enlisted a Mustang, for those of you know who are veterans, military people out there. And I'm getting ready to head to undergraduate pilot training out in Texas to be a pilot. I'm really big into almost anything I can get into. I've tried it all. I've tried e-commerce, FBA, drop shipping, anything like most of you people out here watching entrepreneurs. Try to find your niche, but what came to me was probably the stock market. Yeah.
Wow.
I probably should start off. I feel like I fucked that up,
No, you're
bro.
good. You're good. Very well said. So a message for the viewers. Like maybe I guess a little bit about your story. When you were 18, what were you thinking about at the time? Like,
Uh, Back when I was 18, I was actually in the Air Force when I was 18 already.
oh
A little
dang.
about me, I enlisted in the Air Force at 17 years old.
Okay.
I graduated a little bit early, so I was able to enlist with my parents' consent. Always knew I wanted to serve, always knew I wanted to be in the Air Force one day. So I enlisted right out of high school. Went straight in the Air Force, did 4 years. Separated from the Air Force in 2021. I separated, prioritized my education, and received a bachelor's. So I went to school for finance, got my bachelor's in science and finance. After that, I actually did an accelerated program, so got my bachelor's in 2 years instead of 4. After that, I enrolled into my MBA, so I'm currently working towards my MBA and a second bachelor's in physics.
Wow.
I'm currently here on track to graduate this December.
Okay, so let's debunk the is the military worth it? And for those who are like maybe like in their crossroad, like in their lives, maybe like the military sucks, mixed feelings about it, or I don't want to join because XYZ. How was your experience in the military? Was it, quote unquote, I guess you would say like trash, or was it, what type of experience did you have?
So my experience differs from everybody. Obviously, everyone who joins the military will have their own vibe, their own personal experience behind it. I definitely think mine is different from most. I only did 4 years straight out of high school on the enlisted side. And during that time, I traveled over 20 countries, spanning 4 continents. First assignment was overseas out in Italy, so I was living up, partying. Everyone went to college. I was living that lifestyle in Europe. So I had a good experience. The beauty to the military is it funded my different financial endeavors. So being able to invest in the stock market, being able to learn how to trade, being able to eventually buy my first real estate, a lot of that money came from the military. When I was learning how to trade, like most people should do, is demo trade. I was blowing accounts, but at the time I didn't really think of it like that. I was just, hey, I'm getting paid the 1st and 15th. I'm gonna throw more money in the market, and eventually I'll get it. I don't recommend that now, looking back on it, but back then I had money coming into where I was able to do stupid stuff like that. A lot of people try to make it into entrepreneurship, but they don't have the money coming in to fund that endeavor that might pay off. And capital is the big thing to get into anything. So, I love the military. I wouldn't have commissioned back into the Air Force if I didn't love the military. I'm looking forward to my next chapter as an officer, and I definitely recommend it for anyone.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned some of the things like it was able to support your lifestyle or living at the time and fund your endeavors.
Without a doubt.
So what about the passion into getting into, I guess you named multiple different financial different like pathways. Like what was your passion into getting into those things? Was it exposed to you early on? Was it something you kind of had an idea of, or how did you get into it?
So it's also related to the military. I was 18 years old. I was working on a flight line in Aviano, it's Aviano Air Base in Italy. I was working on a flight line, and I had a supervisor. He showed me his Roth account, and he had $40,000 in account. And I'll never forget, 18 years old. Nowadays you have TikTok, social media. It's like 40 grand is nothing to what you see online. But back then for us, or at least me in 2018, 2017, I was like, bro, $40,000, like, whoa, that's a lot of money. So I asked him, like, what did you do? He's telling me, he's like, this is an investment account that he's been accruing over the years and slowly growing. And I'm like, what can I do to get $40,000? And then he kind of told me about, stock market. And you always hear growing up about the stock market and investing, but you just hear that's the borderline that you hear to it. So then I went home after work, went on YouTube, and I seen a YouTube video of a day in the life. Shout out Ricky Gutierrez, it was your video. He motivated me. It was his video of comparing a day in the life between him and I think a young gentleman doing Uber Eats.
Wow.
And I seen the lifestyle that Ricky Gutierrez was living at the time and how much he made. I think he made like $11,000 that day.
Dang,
And
yeah.
after seeing that one video, I got hooked. I was binge watching everything I could about the stock market. I tried every avenue I was looking at equities, options, futures, forex, crypto, like anything and anything I was binge watching, and it eventually came down to learning my own path, my own sector, and honing in on skills, which paid off.
Wow. I mean, obviously, I think like, they say like Rome wasn't built in one day. So your successes obviously probably weren't built in one day. Name your biggest loss and your biggest winner.
So my biggest loss and biggest winner both came within the same month. So I was trading 0 DTE on the SPX cash settle S&P. I was trading 0 days to expiration, meaning the contract expired within the same days. I kind of got lucky, and I turned a little over $12,000 into $151,000 in a single day.
Wow.
It was super lucky. And I was actually willing to lose the whole 10K. It was like most people call probably a lotto play.
Right.
That same month, I was trading a little different strategy on 0 DTEs, and I was trading some iron condors, and I ended up losing some $80,000 in a single day on 0 DTEs. It's a life lesson I learned the hard way. I don't think I'll ever make that lesson again or make that same mistake again. But it's kind of ironic. The same month that I had my biggest winner is the same month I had my biggest loser.
All right. Now that we talked about your biggest winner, biggest loss, what was your lowest point in your life? How did you bounce back from that and use that as fuel to move forward?
Lowest point would be, I remember starting an account with about $2,500, and over the span of maybe 6 months, I slowly grew it above the PDT. For those of you who don't know, pattern day trade. And that was a big accomplishment for me at the time. Some people try to go, trading cash settled accounts or try to use an overseas broker. Me, I started with $2,500, eventually grew it over 25 grand on a regular account, margin account. And when I got over 25K, I was like, whoa, now I can actually be a day trader. I don't got to worry about the rolling 5-day trading period. I don't have to worry about the next when I have another day trade. I was like, okay, let me reevaluate. But I started over trading. I started trading differently than what I was when I didn't have unlimited day trades. And I actually brung that account down back to like $10,000, maybe $8,000. And as quick as I got above the PDT rule, I got right back below it. So it was an eye-opener to realize that no matter how much money you have, no matter how much capital you have, you got to still be able to trade within your own parameters, your set rules, and you got to stick to a guideline that you set for yourself so that you don't slowly come back to where you started.
What does a typical day of trading look like for you? Like what was like some of the parameters, that you mentioned that you used to allow you to propel to move forward?
So every day, my days are kind of the same. Monday through Fridays, when I wake up probably, so we live on the Eastern Coast, so market opens around 9:30. I'm always up around like 8:30, 9 at the very latest. During that time, I'll look at, so it depends on what style I'm trading. Most recently, I've been trading a lot of low cap, relatively stocks trading from like 300 million to roughly $2 billion in market cap. Relatively look at stocks that have been gapping up overnight and use certain type of technicals to see which company is gapping up, why they're gapping up. Try to make my own analysis on the company, if it's undervalued, overvalued, if it's going to keep shooting up for the day, if it's going to bounce back. And then I'll make my own little parameters of what I feel like I'm going to do for the day, and then I go into it. Typically, I'm done trading by 10:30, and that morning rush hour is done by like 10:30, and I can't find nothing, I call it a day and either go back to sleep or find something else to get into.
Dang. Hey, that sounds smooth. Hey, for those of you guys who are trying to become traders, hey, tap in with them. I mean, I know you don't got a course or anything, but do your due diligence. For those who are actually genuinely trying to become traders, do your due diligence, do your studies. Don't even rush into getting into trading with real dollars, right? Wouldn't you recommend paper trading?
Yeah, I learned the hard way. Even though I had the Air Force backing me every 1st and the 15th, I was blowing a lot more money than I should have. I wish I would have took demo trading and paper trading more serious. I understand the pros and the cons to it. A lot of people who have the capital rush in with the capital and end up losing money. They don't stick with it. Whereas people who don't have the capital, they don't want to demo trade because they don't see the realize of profit or loss to where they're like, man, forget this. So I definitely get it. You don't want to demo trade. You don't want to sit in front of a computer looking at fake red and fake green, but it's something I wish I would go back and do. It's a lot of money I probably would still have in my bank account had I done that to begin with.
And speaking about, I guess, like bank account, what is your end goal? Like, do you live life to play the game or play the game to live life?
I think I play the game to live life. I have a really exotic taste, I mean, it's not a Lambo or Ferrari, but bought this car at 22, had it built for me out the factory. I was on a wait list for over a year, so I tried to get this car when I was 20 years old. Actually had to wait, didn't end up getting it till I was almost 22. One day I want to have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. I currently prioritizing real estate and buying more houses before I buy that type of car. But I live to invest so that I can afford stuff like this. I love watches. Wearing a Yachtmaster 40mm, have a rose gold. A really expensive watch. I love fashion. I love jewelry. So you can't afford that taste without having the money to back it up. So you got to start somewhere to eventually get to where you want.
Right. Okay. being in the military, what are three of the biggest benefits you'd like to highlight, especially for you and your growth in your career and where you are now?
Three, I would say number one, VA loan. I am first home, new construction, no money down. Great rate. Like it was perfect. Did I have the money for a down payment? Yes. But the fact that I didn't have to put money on a down payment, it saved me so much more money to buy down my rate, and it eventually lead into my first rental property. Second thing I would say about the military is the GI Bill, or education benefits. I got my undergrad, and I'm currently getting a master's and a second bachelor's, all free under 9/11. It's a very, very, very great benefit. I never thought I'd go to college out of high school. I knew I may or may not one day, but the fact that I got paid to go to college was, the pinnacle of it. And then third, I would say there's nothing wrong, or there's nothing that beats being a veteran, being part of a community that no one else knows about. That's one of those things you have to be a part of to actually know about. So like when I see somebody who served, it's just like I understand what they went through, I understand what they did, because at the end of the day they're a veteran. It's like a community. So service before self is like that third one I would say. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it does have you like reframes your mind, kind of like lets you. I guess essentially it's like your philanthropic kind of way of like kind of giving back, a sense of patriotism, I guess, that we don't really talk about. A message for the viewers: is there anything specifically that you wanted to share, with them that
I think one advice I give everyone, whether you're trying to invest, get into real estate, the hardest part to it is sticking to it. What that means is it doesn't matter if you're perfect when you start or if you're terrible when you start. The determination to stick with it and keep going with it is what's going to allow you to be successful in it. So, everything that I accumulated over these past couple years started when I was 18 years old. I'm 24 now. Only thing I did that I would say a lot of my peers didn't do was stick to it. I know a lot of people that try to get in the stock market at a young age and they don't have the capital, to where when they eventually have the capital, they lose the capital and they give up. They don't stick with it and realize, it's about the long game, not the short game. And at the end of it, tell everyone it's not hard to make money in the stock market. Anyone can go buy something to make money. The hard part is doing it over a long time and doing it continuously.
One more for you. Do you like building generational wealth? What does that look like to you?
Generational wealth. I never really thought about that. Never looked that far into the future. I feel like I'm too young to be looking towards the aspect of what I want to leave, for my name, my hair, or my family. Everyone wants to leave something behind to somebody if they do have kids right now or at some point in the future. I feel like the fact that I don't have kids, I never really looked towards generational wealth because, right now I am my own generation. So, that's something I'll probably look forward to in the future, maybe one day when I have kids. But as of right now, I'm just kind of living the life how it goes and sees fit.
Okay, well, if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys wanted to see more content, more just podcast interviews with, people that I meet, people that I know, that I connect with. Me and Jahkir, we've known each other since high school, so that's just a little fun fact. I was freshman year in high school. We were in JROTC, and from then we didn't even realize what the future might have looked like, but we knew we had a dream, a vision, a future to fulfill and to just commit to, right? And it's crazy, like, looking back, right? Like, I guess out of 100 people, how much would you have said in high school, out of just 100, right? How many of them that you know right now are successful, thriving?
Probably can count on one hand. It's not that many people. In high school, you hear a lot of people that are going to go off to do a lot of big things. Even in high school, I wouldn't have told you I'd be an officer one day in the Air Force, or, I would own this type of car. I think a lot of people in high school put out this false perception of what they're going to be when they grow up, but life happens, and it takes you down a route that no one ever would have knew. So, like, not to say anyone in this video will fall down that route, but, man, however you feel in high school, you may stick to it, you may not, but I'll be honest, the version I saw of myself in high school is not the version I am today.
That is so true, bro. Honestly, just kicking back, just looking back, like, none of what we had. I mean, if you guys can look at my pen reel, I talk about how much I've accomplished up to 22, and then just hearing how he's accomplished everything that he. I mean, honestly, it's like we don't really look for it. Just kind of came our way, right? Like when you kind of
life happened. That's the only way to explain it. Life happened.
Like we were talking the talk, but we weren't walking that exact talk, but we were still walking on a path of success that led to that talk. So it's like I don't remember a time when you were like, yo, I'm gonna get the C8. I didn't remember a time like, yo, I'm gonna own 2 properties by the time I'm 24. You know what I mean? So it's like those conversations, guys, like for my high school viewers, my young viewers, I aspire and encourage you guys all to look for, some form of investment entrepreneur vehicle to lead you to your dreams. Believe in it, because if you dare to dream it, you better go achieve it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time, brain, and energy. So without further ado, though, if you guys enjoyed this video, this podcast with Jahkir Bailey, and here I am, Samson, just go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and give the video a thumbs up. Thank you.
See ya.